Well, hi for now, and welcome to the Graticast, episode 18, I think, which I'm going to call Working Out the Difference. This week has been the kind of week where... Hold on. Can you hear that? I'm going to go and look for that. Let's, I think it must be coming from over here. Okay, it sounds like it might be coming from in here. What the hell is it? Well, I expect you've worked out by now. I've been looking for a cricket. It's one of those things that makes such a loud noise you'd think it'd be really obvious to find, and yet still it manages to elude you. Well, there's been at least one day this week that's been a lot like that. I'll explain in a minute, but first, there's something I really want to show you. You see, this week has brought me and my family a whole world of blessing wrapped up in the teeniest, most gorgeous little bundle. My new niece, Willow. Now, this isn't her, this is actually a willow tree, but it's the closest I can get at the moment. I am so grateful to my brother and my sister-in-law for choosing that name for her, because Buffy is by far the best programme ever, and Alison Hannigan played a most beautiful character. But also, the willow is one of my favourite trees. It takes me back to holidays on a boat on the river. You normally find willows down by the river because they're an important part of the river's ecosystem. Their roots help to bind the riverbank together and help prevent floods that way. And I quite like the idea of my niece being the kind of person who binds things together and allows the course of life to flow more freely. Of course, I'd never put that responsibility on her, but looking at her, I think she's going to be the kind of person for whom that comes naturally. But whenever I've been on social media or listened to the radio or even just signed into a building, I haven't been able to miss the other major anniversary this week. It's been 13 years since the World Trade Center was brought down by a terrorist act. I can't claim to have known personally anyone who was in the Twin Towers, nor was I of an age where I could go off and fight. But I don't think there's a single person in the world who can say that they weren't affected by it. Because what 9/11 did, amongst many other things, was prove that negativity is still a very powerful thing in the world. I say negativity instead of evil because, well, evil is just very subjective. Some people like peanut butter, for instance, but I think it's the excretion of demons. Not that I'm allergic or anything, I just think it's halitosis in a jar. The terrorists behind 9/11 thought they were fighting evil. The soldiers who went off to war in response thought they were fighting evil. You may think it's common sense who's right, but what's common can sometimes depend on where you're born. Anyway you look at it though, it's hard to find the good. And yet, just like I was when I was searching for that cricket, some of us are sure there has to be some good somewhere. We ask questions like, why would a good and loving God let this happen? All of these questions seem designed to give religious leaders and politicians a headache, but they're also an indication of our desperate longing for happy endings. I don't think anyone will ever be able to give a fully satisfactory answer to the question why a loving God would allow evil in the world, but I think I can understand how it happens. Look. This is the sign we have for negative, right? The minus sign. And that's also the sign we use when we're wanting to work out the difference between values, yeah? And that's exactly it. Working out the difference between values. How we're different from others. Focusing on the difference. That's what's at the heart of negativity. So one way we might be able to find the cricket amongst the rubble of 9/11 is by looking for examples of togetherness. Such as the chef, what was his name? Benjamin Clark, I think, who managed to rescue everyone from his floor, make sure they got out safely, before sadly getting trapped in the rubble himself. Those aboard Flight 93, of course, who diverted the plane that would have landed on Washington. And then, of course, all the emergency service personnel who risked or suffered the ultimate sacrifice to save those trapped inside the buildings. All these individuals realised that they were part of something greater than their individual self. And in doing so, they pointed out the path to goodness. If I can offer my niece anything, I hope it's that. Showing her that we can find common ground between us, even when there's no common sense. And if we bind things together like that, then the world will still have many, many examples of positivity, and plenty of opportunities for peace. Just like those willow tree roots hold the bank together and allow the river to flow freely, carrying life-giving support to the natural world around it. Look at that. Finally got some sun for the end of my walk. Just to let you know, folks, there ain't going to be a Graticast next week, partly because, as you may have noticed, we've fallen a bit behind recently, but also because I'm working on something extra special for you. So please do keep tweeting and posting your gratitudes and commenting on these videos. And if you want a free notification of when the next video is up, don't forget to click here to subscribe if you haven't done already. And also don't forget, just by subscribing, you will be helping us to raise money from advertising and sponsorship to combat that dreadful disease of ME. Ooh, this looks like a nice place to read out some of your gratitudes. So yeah, thanks again, folks, for all of the blessings that you've been counting and sharing with us. We've got one here on Twitter from Nikon Hendy, a photographer and architect from Southern California. He's grateful to high-speed data provider Sprint. Their telephone customer service agents have given him 14 years of great customer service for his business account, so well done them. Surya Gamela says she had the best day this week because she managed to find 2 items that had been missing for about 2 years. So that left her feeling quite elated and thankful, and I'm sure many of us know what that feels like. And finally for this week, The Body Rehab, which is a Twitter account for a sports injury clinic in the Lake District, said that they were very grateful to Gerard Greenify, a Birmingham-based specialist in physiotherapy, for a talk they gave at a therapy expo. Thank you very much for sharing the knowledge, guys. So finally, thank you for watching. Before I leave you though, one last thing. If you're ever finding that things aren't adding up, just think, maybe the reason it's called a sum is because only some of it matters. Stay thankful, and ciao for now.